Jones Show.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
The really important news today from the Associated Press: man hospitalized after winning eggnog chugging contest. Just a couple cups of eggnog makes me want to throw up. It's so thick, it tastes great. Can you imagine, though, if our broadcast was just fluff news like that? It'd probably be pretty entertaining, but nevertheless, we won't be discussing any eggnog chugging contest here today. We will be discussing the serious sociological and economic developments taking place across the world. ABC News reports after NYC deaths of police officers, a surge of support for police. Rocker John Bon Jovi donned a New York Police Department T-shirt on stage. Well-wishers delivered home-baked cookies by the hundreds to police in Cincinnati. In Mooresville, North Carolina, police and sheriff's officers were treated by residents to a chili dinner. At a time when many in the nation's police community feel embattled, Americans in cities and towns across the country are making an effort to express support and gratitude. And that sounds good on the surface, and overall I think it's good for the public to reach out to police reach out to the public. The social engineers want us at each other's throats and to divide and conquer. But by Democratic Party, socialist-financed, basically mind-controlled idiots going out and shooting innocent police in cold blood, it will then cause an us-against-them mentality of just totally joining one side or the other. And there are massive abuses going on inside governmental systems across the board, not just police. So it short-circuits the debate into just debating police versus citizens instead of everything else going on above that. And the divide and conquer is playing off quite nicely right now. They're trying to divide the lines by police and whites on one side and everybody else on the other, when this country is already basically majority minority in most areas of the nation. It needs to be about a culture based on Bill of Rights, Constitution, not what color you are or what all your other beliefs are, in my view. It needs to be first, we agree on free market, we agree on private property, we agree on due process, we agree on not having barbarism like you have in Chicago and New York and D.C. with the gun bans. We want to give the individual the best shot at being empowered, and that means letting the individual struggle as well. Because history has shown diversity makes men, prosperity makes monsters, to quote Victor Hugo, one of my favorite people to quote. And I'm here to tell you, no army can stop an idea whose time has come. We've got so much news today. I saw this report on Infowars.com yesterday, and I thought, man, this is one of Paul Watson's best reports. And then sure enough, it was on drudgereport.com this morning. Middle column, was FBI wrong on North Korea? Sony was not just hacked. This is a company that was essentially nuked from the inside. CBS News has now been forced to report. Was the FBI wrong on North Korea? Of course they were, ladies and gentlemen, on purpose. It was the FBI originally that came out and said it was an inside job 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, and Paul Watson has the article in his video report that Drudge is linked to. Marketing scam, Sony to show the interview on Christmas Day in theaters. And I intuitively guessed it'd be Alamo Drafthouse nationwide, and boom, I was correct. Because I know the Alamo was bucking, I know the owner, to try to air it even and try to demand Sony give it to them. So they were the first to reach out. But this is a total example of a stage-managed event. And remember, we told you weeks ago that we believed it was an inside job, somebody leaking, and that it couldn't be North Korea. And we were right again. Right again. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Not being arrogant. Another side issue. Paul's been working for me for 13 years. He said, I'm not a public personality. I'm not going to go on your show. I'm not going to do reports. He does reports now and does as good a job as I do. So see, I was right again. I made him do it. It was probably coordinated between the Obama administration, Homeland Security, the NSA, to try to reintroduce CISPA and SOPA and expand the Cyber Command's funding from around $50 billion a year to even more. It's about $50 billion out of the $200 billion or so-called intelligence budget that rolls into the $500+ billion defense budget. And when I bring these points up, I'm going to show you an article where we put this out last Friday by Kit Daniels, just one of many articles. I want to explain something. It's not arrogance. It is confidence. I'm here to try to instill confidence in the audience and in new leaders out there to realize you are the resistance. You have power, not just Alex Jones, not just a WorldNet Daily or a Matt Drudge at drudgereport.com, not just a Michael Savage. You have power in your area. Now, before I get into all this news, I said earlier, we were right about this again. It's now basically admitted it was an inside leak, not a hack of Sony. I saw Obama in a press conference this morning say, we can't let dictators dictate to us what we put out. Good job, Sony, saying you're now going to release the movie on Christmas Day. Total hype. We're going to play that clip in a moment. But instead of just looking at what the enemy does, we have to realize how often we're right. Not because we're even that smart, but we're actually looking for the truth. We see the patterns. We see the motives. We see the means. It's a basic investigation. And so, I remember Paul's been working with me since 2001. 13 years. And Paul would basically write articles about my radio show on his own website, propagandamatrix.com. And he's a microcosm of myself and you and everybody else. And going back about 6, 7 years ago, I tried to make him come on the radio as a guest. He said, I'm just a writer. I don't want to do it. Then I told him, I said, listen, I've given you pay raises and stuff. You're going to start doing weekly videos for prisonplanet.tv, and you're going to start coming on my radio show, and you're going to develop yourself, or I'm going to find somebody else. As much as I care about you, I'm not going to just sit there and let you stagnate as a writer. Paul Watson has now been on national CBS, ABC, Coast to Coast AM repeatedly. His articles get picked up and quoted in the BBC, Der Spiegel, Russian news, U.S. news, every week. And he was 20 years old when I hired him. He's now, what, 33? 30-something years old. That is a microcosm. His brother's got a political science, international relations degree. He does work as well. I'm trying to spur Steve Watson to step up and become a media personality, because people just don't want the info. They want it delivered by an individual who over the years they learn to trust and who they develop a relationship with. So I'm talking about media theory here from my own grassroots organic perspective before I even get into all this news. Paul Watson's article is on drudgereport.com today. And this morning, I saw it at the top of Yahoo News. There it is, linked in red. Marketing scam, drudgereport.com. Sony to show the interview on Christmas Day in theaters. And I saw this report last night when he put it out, and I thought, man, that's a really good report. I'm going to play that when I go on air tomorrow. And I had an extreme feeling of satisfaction, like when you see your son or daughter graduate college, or when you, I guess they, in Full Metal Jacket, which is based on a lot of historical things that happened, even though it's fiction in the research, with the pleasure the drill sergeants have when they see the recruits at graduation in their youth, meaner and tougher than even they are. That's the spirit of victory. That's what we should be looking for, to build up alternative media, to build up personalities, to build up leaders of every race, color, creed, male, female, you name it. To where we may not agree on everything, gay, straight, whatever the issue is, black, white, old, young, male, female, but we all should agree that we want freedom for the average person to live their life as they see fit, as long as they don't hurt somebody else. That's the libertarian Thomas Jefferson maxim, a true liberal maxim. But you see, the fake liberals say, we've got to agree with what they say or we're not liberals. That's not liberal. That's totalitarian. That's oppressive. That's despotic by every yardstick. So I just want to celebrate on Christmas Eve here with all of you 20 years of the info war, and the fact that I have been able, with the grace of God and your support out there, to go find grassroots reporters with some of them have professional backgrounds like Darren McBreen and others. Some of them have degrees like Leanne McAdoo in journalism from UT, but she'd been successful already just doing entertainment television, because there isn't a lot of places for